Welcome to Family Care Navigators, the podcast where we empower you with the knowledge, support, and resources to navigate the challenging yet rewarding journey of caring for your elderly loved ones. I'm Bill.
And I'm Stephanie.
We are thrilled to be your guide on this journey.
Together, we'll explore the emotional, practical, and logical aspects of caregiving, from hiring the right help to choosing the best care facility and everything in between. Whether you're a seasoned caregiver or just starting out, this podcast is here to provide you with valuable insights and heartfelt stories that resonate.
Let's dive in and navigate this journey together. Well, we are diving in this week on Family Care Navigators. We're talking about sinking or swimming.
Yes, exactly. Sinking or swimming. That's kind of how we felt like our personal experience went.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it was just something that I would not have anybody go through alone. That is for sure.
That's exactly right. We're diving into our own story, and it's been a long and an emotional journey. It's been 18 years.
Wow.
Yeah. We were caregivers for 15, a total of 15, but it's been 18 years. And we had 3 separate parents, each with unique needs and situations. It hasn't been easy, but it has been really incredibly rewarding, don't you think?
Absolutely. We actually started with my mother, who had severe depression and eventually developed a severe UTI that drastically impacted her health. And, we cared for her in our house for over a year, and we were going through different things going with doctors, and finally one of the doctors said, you have to make a very difficult decision.
Yeah.
You no longer can have her in your home.
Right.
And so I told the doctor, said, I can't tell her that.
No.
I need you to tell her that.
Right.
And so he obliged and said, okay, Mrs. Lawson, I've got some news for you. You're not able to go back to your home. I need you to go somewhere else and live. Mm-hmm. And you cannot live with Bill and Stephanie.
Right. That was so difficult. It really was, because during that year, because she stayed with us a little over a year, and she came to us overnight, right?
Right.
Just completely overnight. When we tell you all overnight, we mean overnight. And then we navigated her health journey for over a year. She had many hospitalizations.
Right.
And then to have to put her in a care facility, how did that make you feel?
Oh, as an only child?
Yes.
I had to make the decision on my own. Well, granted, you were there with me. Don't get me wrong.
But still, ultimately, it's your decision.
Yeah, I had no siblings, no one to really lean on and say, what are we going to do?
Right.
So it was pretty heartbreaking. I really felt like I was failing her, but I knew it was really the best decision for her health and well-being, and it taught me the importance of seeking help when it was needed and understanding our own limits as caregivers.
Yeah, that's true. We do each have our limitations. No one can do all things, right?
Right.
And so what type of help did you seek out?
Well, I sought out, I just called different places, sought out different organizations, and finally I just said, okay, I need to go research some places myself.
Okay, and what was that journey like, navigating, looking at all of those healthcare facilities? I remember those days.
It was extremely hard.
It was.
Because, you're going in, you're going, okay, I'm going to have to put my mother in one of these facilities. Because,
right.
At the time, it was like, I don't want to do it, but I need to do it. I don't want to put her in one of those, quote, nursing homes that we all know about.
Right, exactly.
I'm not putting her in a nursing home. And we even contacted some folks, and there were a 2-year waiting list.
Yes.
And I'm thinking, I don't have 2 years.
No.
I have maybe 5 days, because she was currently in the hospital.
Right.
And that's when the doctor told her, and we're like, oh, okay. Well, no, she wasn't in the hospital. She was at home. I'm sorry.
Right. We had taken her to a doctor's appointment.
Taken her to a doctor's appointment, right. So she'd come out of the hospital. We went back to the doctor's appointment. And when he told her, I was like, okay, I only have X amount of days now to get this done.
Right.
And so with looking at it all, working it through it all, I finally was able to go. I went to several facilities. They were great folks, great to help me out. But we settled on this one.
Right.
because it was assisted living.
Yes.
And we thought, okay, she needs assisted living, not so much like dementia care, anything like
Right.
that. We thought that with assisted living, she would get friends, come out of that depressive state because,
Right.
Working for 43 years at a company,
Yes.
always had interaction with people.
Right.
Then retired, and life happened, and finally, I guess it got to that point. Several years later, she's like, "I'm just shutting down."
Right.
And so she had very little interaction. She had interaction at church, yes,
Right.
but that interaction was not daily.
No.
That was weekly.
Mm-hmm.
And so, with not having that daily interaction, I think that's what spiraled her.
That and I remember them telling us that she had a vitamin deficiency.
True.
And it was something that we could never get ahead of.
No, and it took a lot of testing.
Yes,
to
it
find
did.
that vitamin deficiency.
Yes, it did. And that, the doctor said caused a lot of her mental, her cognitive abilities, and it shut down her communication.
Right.
And so that was very difficult because Mom had always been very chatty. We had always had great conversation, that sort of thing. She loved to laugh.
Oh,
and
yeah.
She loved to shop. And
Oh, yeah.
all of that. And so to see her in this state every day in our home, it really began to take its toll on us as a couple.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, we were having, just very heated conversations. We'll put it that way. Very intense fellowship conversations.
Yes.
We'll put it that way. So,
Yeah, we did.
I mean, in reality, that's going to happen.
It is going to happen. And you have to remember, we finally looked at one another and said, listen, we are not on opposite teams. We are on the same team.
Right.
We are after the same goal. I know that she's not my blood mother. She's not my biological mother. But I was very close to my mother-in-law.
Oh, yeah.
And she loved me and I loved her. And so I did what any daughter would do for their mother. I cared for her. I bathed her. I fed her. I took care of her.
Yeah, for that whole year where she was in our home.
Yes.
I mean, you were her caregiver.
I was.
I mean, because
I had
you
to
actually
quit my
You
job.
had to quit your job, yeah.
Yeah, and take care of her.
Right.
We also utilized an adult daycare
Yes.
that was near our home.
That adult daycare was a godsend.
It really was. Mom didn't enjoy getting up and getting ready to go,
No.
but she enjoyed it once she was there.
Right.
And then there was also a care home that we had a death in our family,
Right.
and we needed respite.
Mm-hmm.
So because we knew we couldn't deal with the funeral and all of that with her there. And so they were very gracious and allowed her to stay for about 4 days till we got everything taken care of and so forth and so on.
Right.
And that was amazing. And that is another resource that you actually have. There are a couple of resources. The care homes and a lot of the facilities now offer a respite.
Yes, they do.
So you can just pay by the day and allow them to be there for 3 or 4 days or a week. And you have to tell them, listen, you're not going there permanently. It's just that I don't have anyone to keep you.
Right.
And I have this going on. And so this is going to give you a little mini vacation, and it's going to give us a little mini vacation and allow us a break. Because as a caregiver, you're going to need a break.
Oh, yes. Yes.
And so we did that. We utilized that. And then there is an organization called A Place for Mom.
Oh, yeah. They're cool.
They are. It's a great organization, and we're going to have them on with us and talk about their organization and what they do. But basically, they help you locate a facility for your parent that meets your budget, that meets your medical need, your care need, and there are different needs.
Right. And, and we took their advice.
Yeah, we really did.
Because we looked at, like I said, we were going to put her in and finally decided on this spot.
Yes.
But part of that decision upon that spot was going through what we just talked about. And then getting to the spot with A Place for Mom, they said, here's your recommendations, 1, 2, 3.
Right.
So that's why I went to 1, 2, and 3.
Right.
And decided on, I think it was 2.
Yeah, I don't even remember.
I can't remember what number it was. But ended up deciding on that facility, and it was assisted living.
Right.
So we were going through the assisted living part, we're going, and, with not depending on Medicare, not
Right.
depending on Medicaid, anything like that.
Right.
We were solely going off of her financial,
Yes.
her finances.
It's a big deal.
Yes. I mean,
And it wasn't something that she had pre-prepared for.
No, not at all.
This was never on our radar.
No.
Or
it
her
was not.
radar.
So, I mean, just preparing that financially and saying, how are we going to do this?
Right.
So finally, I mean, she was in there for 2.5, 3 years roughly.
Yep.
And finally we got to the point where they said, okay, Mr. and Mrs. Lawson, I'm sorry to tell you this, but we're transitioning the facility.
Right.
They're making an assisted living into transitional care into nursing home.
And Alzheimer.
And Alzheimer.
Yes.
Yeah. So we're like, okay. And they said, we're going to have to move her to a different apartment. And we also have to increase your monthly rate. I'm like, by how much? So they gave me the figure and I went,
there's no way.
There's no way. I mean, we were partially supplementing part of it anyway. But there was no way to make that happen. So, again, I had to go out, find another place, found another great place here in town.
Yes.
And that's the key. You find a place in your town.
Yes.
Because you need to go visit.
Oh.
Don't put them in somewhere that's 2 or 3 hours away and say, oh, I'll go visit. No, you won't.
No.
I mean, in reality, you won't.
No, it's true.
Yeah, so you're going to find a place close to home where you can go at least 2 or 3 times a week. We were there at least 2 or 3 times a week.
Oh, if not more.
If not more. Checking on her, checking things, because that is one thing you have to do as well. You have to check on your loved one.
Yes.
And make sure they're being cared for.
Absolutely.
Quiz them. Sit down and go have dinner with them. I did that several times just to see how dinner transition did.
Yes.
I'd pop in different times of the day. It's not I would go a certain time of day because you get that pattern of going that certain time of day, they're going to look at you and go, oh, we got to make sure she's okay between X and Y because he's going to be here or she's going to be here between that certain time of day.
And a lot of that's not intentional.
No, it's not.
Because there are great care facilities.
Correct.
But let's be honest, things happen.
Oh, yeah, things happen.
And we were very blessed. We were very, very blessed in that the Lord ordered our steps and allowed us to go ahead and put her in a facility that was terrific. And both of them were.
Yes, they were. Very, very great facilities. I mean, she made friends in both. In the first one, part of it, she lost some friends. So kind of went that up and down, that sink or swim type
and
thing.
that roller coaster.
So in the second spot, we found that second spot. She made friends there as well. She was great to go. We were seeing that cycle go back up, and we're like, all right, here we go. The cycle's coming through. She's going to be fine. Then the bottom dropped out.
It did.
And when the bottom dropped out, it fully dropped out.
It did. We received a call that she had a massive heart attack one evening. And it was just, honestly, you guys, it was heart-wrenching because we had seen her do so well.
Yes.
And had made such strides at her new facility.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, she's gone.
Yeah.
So, we have walked that journey of not knowing what to do.
Yeah.
And not knowing who to call, not knowing what the resources were. But through that, Mom taught us a lot.
Yeah, she did.
Her experience was
a lot. It was a lot because, after that, we ended up, your folks were up in age, and your dad,
took a fall a couple months later, and then his caring began
his journey started,
But his was completely different than Mom's.
Yes, it was.
Because he and my mother still were married and lived together, and they had a home of their own.
Right.
And he wanted to stay home. And so Bill and I took care of our home and their home.
Yeah.
And because he wasn't able to do, although he tried and fell many times because he tried, tore his rotator cuffs, the whole 9 yards, because, he thought he could do it. And, guys, that's going to be normal. They are going to think that they can do.
Yes.
They're going to want to stay independent. Most parents want to stay in their home.
Yes, and the good thing about your dad staying in his home, we were able to get home health care.
Yes.
And we were able to tap into a great benefit.
Yes.
through the Veterans Administration.
Yes, and we're going to have a whole episode on that.
A whole episode on that. So, I mean, we were able to tap into that. We'll talk about that later in future episodes.
Yes.
But that was a great thing that helped us out there.
Yes.
Bringing home health care, different things like that. Then, in turn, he fell again.
He did. And that was, we took care of them in their home for 4 years.
Yeah.
And did really well.
Yeah, and they came to our house for a couple of weeks one time because the snow knocked out their power, and we had to get them and bring them home.
That's right. I forgot about the snow incident, but they also had mold in their home.
They did.
That's the other thing, you guys, is that they are going to need maintenance on their home if they stay home.
Yes.
And they're going to want to control the maintenance of their home. But the reality is that you can see what needs to be done. And so as the one who's there, you need to go ahead and take care of it. Unfortunately, theirs was behind the walls, and when it came out, the mold and things, it ended up being about 3 months that they lived with us in our home.
Right.
While we had the mold remediation, and then we had to have everything repaired and so forth and so on. So we went through a lot of them coming back and forth from our home to their home, from our home to their home, until then in 2015, Dad became sick, and we had a wonderful home health nurse that was provided by VA.
Right.
And Dad fell out of the bed one morning.
Yeah, he did.
And Mom didn't call me because she didn't want to wake me up, although I was awake, but she didn't want to wake me up. And so she called EMS and had them lift assist. And, they put him back in bed and everything because he appeared to be fine. But that evening we ended up in the emergency room, and then he ended up in the hospital. They admitted him. And within 5 days, Dad was gone.
Yeah.
And so
he ended up getting a form of leukemia.
Yes, an acute myeloid leukemia. And what the doctors told us is that when seniors fall or they have something traumatic happen, it can trigger this. It can lie dormant, because Dad had had a tremendous physical 2 weeks prior. Everything was good. And then he ended up like this. And so, we navigated that journey. And the difference, too, with that is that I had siblings.
Right.
I have 5 other siblings. Now, unfortunately, they all lived out of town.
Yes, they do.
And so, they couldn't be here on the day-to-day. So
Right.
Bill and I were the day-to-day. And then after that, Mom decided she was going to live in the house for a year by herself.
Oh, yeah, and that was fun.
Oh, we say that very sarcastically.
Yes, we do.
And but that was her decision, and we tried to allow her to have that independence. And then at that point, she came to live with us. She had a medical issue, and then she moved in with us almost immediately.
Right.
And then she stayed with us for 6 years. And during that time, we navigated COVID, we navigated hospice, we navigated a lot of things with her. And so every parent has been different. Mm-hmm. And every situation is different.
Right.
But what we did learn along the way is that there's help out there.
Yeah. I mean, like with the hospice folks.
Yes.
I mean, they provided not just medical support, but emotional and spiritual care as well.
Absolutely.
Which, I mean, I had no idea hospice did.
No, me either.
Again, we'll have another episode devoted
will.
specifically for hospice, because we know some great hospice people.
Absolutely. And palliative care.
Right.
Because just because you have hospice in, just let me say this real quick, just because you have hospice in does not mean that it's the end.
Right.
You can actually stay with hospice for several years. It doesn't mean that they're dying tomorrow.
No.
It means that they're going to offer you some support and some help at home. And that's a big, big deal.
Yeah, I mean, it's just the biggest thing is don't think I can't ask for help.
Right.
I need to ask for help. Mm-hmm. Whether it's through VA, hospice, support groups, or someone willing to help. Take care of your own mental health as well.
Absolutely.
I mean, your mental health to get them through the situation is probably just as, if not more important to get through. So
that is true.
Caregiving can be very stressful. Mm-hmm. And it's crucial to take breaks, seek support, and cherish those moments you have with your loved ones for sure. Because even in difficult times, those moments, they're very precious.
Mm-hmm. They are. And we're going to talk a lot on different episodes about self-care. What does that really look like when you are already pulling your hair out, right?
Right.
And talking about support groups and different things like that. So we want you to know that we understand. We've been where you're sitting today in one form or another. And we want you to know that there's help available and that there's hope available and that there's support available. And you're going to make it through this.
You're doing an amazing job.
Absolutely.
Right now, because you're doing what you know to do.
Yes.
We were the same way. We did exactly what we knew to do, and that was it.
That's all you can do.
That's all you can do.
That's all caregivers can do. Do what you know to do, and that's the best you can do. So don't live with regret and don't live in guilt. You're making the best decisions that you can right now.
Right. And, that's the thing. That's why Family Care Navigators and we're doing this podcast. We're here to help you. You're part of our community.
Yeah.
And so we just thank you so much. Our time is wrapping up, and we thank you so much for joining us today and allowing us to share our story and what little bit of it was there. And we hope it offers you some comfort and guidance on your own journey. Next time, we'll be discussing some emotions of the caregiver and how to manage them. And we hope you join us then. Until then, take care, and remember, you're not alone.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of Family Care Navigators. We hope you found today's discussion insightful and empowering. Remember, you're not alone on this journey. Our community is here to support you every step of the way.
If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, leave us a review, and share it with others who might benefit. Visit our website and follow us on social media for more resources and updates. Until next time, stay strong, stay compassionate, and keep navigating with love. I'm Bill.
And I'm Stephanie.
Signing off. Take care and see you soon.